Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 13th, 2023 at approximately 5:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally live by, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I actually guide my own life with, as well as the ones I've handed over to literally thousands of people with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. Now, unfortunately, the original stream, we ran into a major hang-up. Okay, so what I've done is I've had to reboot. Okay, so for those of you that got caught in that little fiasco, my apologies. And what is this? I did not. Nope, that is not what I needed. Okay. Let us see what we got going on here live. There. That should say part 2, and there we are. Now, hopefully we had a really good conversation going in my eyes. And unfortunately, that kind of went the way of the dodo bird when the whole system jammed. Just adding an interesting note here. There we go. So, now I am just popping this. Where are we? Copy that. Post that in Facebook and let people know that I'm actually back active. It's kind of a weird setup, but what the heck. Hey, football, you are in with the gold. You're the first one to get back here. I'm just dropping a real quick stream or a quick post to let people know I've gotten back in. And we have Black Dragon back in with the gold, with the silver. And Chad Smith is in with the bronze. Christy Abels, welcome aboard. You've made it in with honorable mention at this point. And Emmy Tonga, you are here. And Black Dragon has come through the door, and there comes Joe. This is kind of like everybody standing. I mean, this is weird. I like it, don't get me wrong. But it reminds me of going to the movies when I was a kid. We'd all stand outside the door. All our tickets would be bought. We'd be standing outside the door, and then the door would open. Everybody'd rush to get through the door. I mean, that ultimately is where we ran into an interesting setup. But no, what do we got here? But like I said, and I forget where I was because, welcome to a technological glitch I have no idea how to work with. So I just restarted the thing, and I'll deal with the taglines and what have you later. Right now, it was a question to get back in here. But when you take a look at where your life currently is, okay, and you first of all identify whether you're content. Where are we here? Yeah, we are at 5:30. So we'll see how this goes. This is a new one for me. Meant to show you guys. Oh, nice. Wonder if I will. I'm waiting for it to come out up here, but at least I know it's coming. I've watched all 3 of them multiple times, all 3 of the ones out so far, multiple times. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. Derek Galloway and Galloway, how are we doing? Oh, that's not a shock. Specifically which one, I don't know. Because I wasn't paying attention to the people behind me, but to me, this is just plain normal. You know, it's also why half the time I run into interesting glitches. Now, here's an update for you guys. I showed somebody this the other day, just today, I think. But my son asked me, I asked my son to find me a mic that works. So this is the one that he picked up for me. Well, technically I picked it up. He just ordered it. Okay. So this will be installed in the near future. My eldest is going to install it so I don't have to fight with it. Yeah, and Derek is just adding, they just pushed back the Avengers movies by a year. You know, and I mean, let's face it, I had to push back. As a matter of fact, I just was talking to my artist, come to think of it. Ended up having to do a bit of a shift. As you well know, this last year has been nuts for me. But I just spoke to my artist that's doing the artwork in Races of the Worlds. We are targeting having it out for Christmas this year. Yes, it's a year later than I was planning on, but I've worked it out. If I do one page a day, okay, not one page rather, but one race a day, I can have it done. There are 59 races plus a few pages, right? So we are looking at the middle of September. We'll be looking at the middle of November. Before my goal at this point, and I'm pushing for this one, is to get Races of the World's second printing with the added information and the added pictures out by the end of November this year. I've already worked it out. It just boils down to doing one race a day. That's it. Okay. And I should be able to do that because, well, I'm pushing. You know, I'm just looking at this here. You know, I know that they like Derek's just letting us know there's a writer's strike in Hollywood right now, which I don't blame them. You know, what Hollywood has done in my eyes is unconscionable. You know, here we have live actors. And what are they doing? They're taking digital technology so they don't have to pay the creative people. You know, to me, this is just wrong. You know, and this is why I get wound up about it on occasion. Yeah, I saw the original. I watched the original Exorcist back in, I think it came. Well, I know it came out in '75, or at least that's when I saw it. Well, they've already got artificial intelligence writing. Understand something very important. Artificial intelligence, in my eyes, is simple. It's fake intelligence. Well, take a look at the movies that are coming out. They're not coming up with new ideas. They're taking old ones, completely scrambling them, and putting them out. Okay. You know, I mean, like, and it's just one of these little pet peeves of mine. But you take, for instance, from what I gather, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They aren't using seven dwarves. Okay. Hopefully, they're at least leaving the woman as Caucasian. You know, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of the new ones coming out because I don't agree with them. Okay, I mean, that's just the reality behind it. In my eyes, anyway. Oh, and that would not surprise me. You know, I mean, I was just a young lad, obviously. In '75, I was all of 12 years old. You know, but that show created problems for a lot of the people that were on it. Okay. And realistically, working in the paranormal field, if you're going about it to play, to see what can happen, I'm telling you, you're walking down a dangerous line. Okay. Do not get me wrong. I don't fear the metaphysical world at all. I absolutely don't. But is it something to play with? No, it really isn't. I also don't fear fire. I wouldn't recommend playing with it. Okay. Nor gunpowder and that sort of thing. These are not safe things to play with, but they are things to work with. Oh. Newsflash, guys, this is completely sidetrack on planning. These guys here, okay, came across and I got informed of another branch, if you will, of these people right here. These are your Zeta Reticulans. Okay, now they are in this book. Okay, and the pictures will be included in the second printing, which will be out at the end of this year. And I'm not setting it back again. Okay, the second set are the Zeta Reticulan D. Okay, which are your taller ones that are also in here. Okay, but there's a third stream of them that I only just got informed of what this stream was. And by the way, something to keep in mind. And yeah, I realized I was looking at planning, and all of a sudden you go that direction. Hey, welcome to my world. There is another stream another bloodline, if you will, the Beta Reticulans. This does not make them second rate. They are simply agricultural, and they're the agricultural people. The Zeta Reticulans are your scientists. Beta Reticulans are your agriculturalists. Now I know of at least 15 different lines, as it were. And come to think of it, I should actually be putting that in. I won't, because their appearances are all pretty similar. Okay. But just marking down to make sure I get these added to that book. The different streams that are there. Okay. Bring one on hold for a sec. Why doesn't that surprise me there, Derek? The thing that we have to realize is the moment you start playing around in this field, and I mean playing, I don't mean investigating. The second you start playing around in fields that break what you know as the laws of physics, which, by the way, they aren't broken, they're just not understood fully, you start opening all sorts of neat little doorways. Okay, but, we get information like this, and Derek's just told us that after Linda Blair went through the movie, they found 3 eggs inside of her, dating 1,100 years old. Now, here's a question for you. Were these eggs organic in nature, or were they mineral and just shaped that way? The fact they were 1,100 years old doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But we are talking about... Yep. Oh, there we are. Derek's going, no, Keith. They were the aliens they found had eggs. Yeah, and this is one of those areas, like I said, I am not a researcher. Not at all. Do I remember things? Certainly. Okay. And yes, like most people, some people do stick out. But we're in a very exciting time right now. And the question you have to ask is, are you content with where your life is or the life around you? As a matter of fact, that reminds me. Have another thing I got to send out today. Another letter I've got to write. Yeah, there goes. Whoa. Yeah, honestly, football, from my standpoint, I don't mind people dating somebody younger, but there are limits. Okay, and there's a very big difference between dating when you're a full adult, dating a 15-year-old. If you're 30 and dating a 15, or for that matter, you're 22 and dating somebody 15, you're dating somebody underage. There is something wrong with this. Now, on the flip side, if you're in your 40s and dating somebody that's in their 30s and you're treating each other properly, there's no harm done in my eyes. And Derek's just adding, it's fascinating unless the Mexican officials were lying. They showed them to the world yesterday. Well, here's the thing. Okay, you start off with the idea of, are they being honest? Then you ask yourself, am I going to worry about it, or am I just going to move forward? I'm telling you, there are things going on this planet that nobody has been told. Okay, and much of it, the government many times has to keep something quiet, quite literally because society won't handle it well. Yeah, him being 25, dating somebody 15 is a problem in my eyes. Okay, the second once they hit the age of majority, okay, and given their intellectual development is adequate, then I don't see a big problem with it on a personal level. But when the kid is 15, you're taking that kid's formative childhood, their formative adulthood, out of the equation. To me, this is just wrong. But that's my personal opinion on the matter. But take a look where your life is standing. And what I've done here is I've got a bunch of different tasks written out. Okay, that I will go through and finish them off today. Because that won't take a whole lot of time. But let me see here. I got sidetracked. On Wednesday, we are gaming. We are talking on the gaming side. Thanks, Eric and Cowie. Appreciate it. Yeah, this one came. I was a speaker back in 2018, just about 6 months before my stroke, right? And I was down there at the Fourth Moon Paracon. Okay, I was speaking down there, literally on my book, The Race of the Worlds. My eldest son is 25. So sorry, he's 26. So if he wants to date a 40-year-old, he's an adult. Okay. It really boils down to a simple issue. He's already an adult. Okay, and if he wants to date an older woman, that's his issue. The trick is not the age of the woman. It's the way the person treats the other one. Black Dragon, how you doing? Didn't see you stink back in here. But, you take a look at where your life is and go, are you content? If you're not content, it's time to start making adjustments. So, okay. Now, I had a list together and now it's gone, so that's always annoying. And apparently I don't have that list, unless I put it here and just got mixed in with it, which is a potentiality. And no, the list is not here, so that being said, on Tuesday I will be tangling with gaming. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, where it comes to the gaming side of it, I have decided that I'm starting to build two things where it comes to the gaming world. One is I will be writing that book. Somebody a while back asked if I would be writing a book, an adventure book, where you go through the book as a character and you make choices, and that determines how the book plays out. Okay, I will be writing one. Absolutely. Okay, I've already started working it out up here. I've also decided I am going to fire up a local game and go back to game mastering, which I haven't done in the last 4 years. Well, I did it for a little bit, like about a year ago, and found I couldn't keep up with it. This time I'm going to plan it out totally to start with, so that I don't have to go looking for things. Okay, and the nice part about it is I'm going to be looking at what... Oh, what do we got here? Let me take a look at that. I just got a text in here that I'm just... What? Oh, the picture hasn't come in yet. That's okay. But, from that standpoint, I'm taking a look at it on like I said, I am starting to write that adventure. I don't know how long that's going to take me. Okay, because I desire it to be made very clear. Now, here's a very important question for you. The picture hasn't arrived. I got the first text there, Adam, and I do appreciate that. Here's a question for you guys, and this is really towards more, gamers will understand this a little better. But let me ask you this. I'm going to be writing quite literally, I'm going to be writing a series of adventure, of interactive adventure books. Okay. It's not that I didn't have enough to write. I just figured, what the heck, let's get another thing on the go. Thank you so much there, Greg. Hi to you, and definitely hi to Janine as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We ended up having to restart the stream. Because the first one seized really, really badly. But I am glad you managed to find us. But a question for you guys. If you were looking for an interactive game or an interactive story where you read the story and you make choices to come through it. Okay. From that standpoint, what kind of a game, of a storyline would you like? I've got a number of options. Okay. And it really boils down to writing the story. I can connect it to any one of the other things I'm writing, or write it independent of itself. But do any of you have an idea as to what the background of an interactive story would be? Derek's going a quest to look for new uncharted lands. Okay, and that I can do quite easily. I'm making a note of these guys, which is why the pen and paper. Uncharted lands, new ways of getting there, that sort of thing. Now, there's an idea. And then what we do, and there's a neat little trick to that. And gamers will get this one. If you're not specific with a wish, okay, it will have different outcomes. Okay, but both are really good ideas. And like I said, I'm writing them down so I can actually get them written and not turned out 10 years down the road. But I will tell you, to start with, I'm going to work with short ones and see what we can do with it. It should be an interesting endeavor, and it's one, they used to be all the rage, but creative writing has, the creativity side of life has become very, shall we say, limited. Ah, there he is. Derek, I just don't understand technology, apparently. Derek sent me a picture. He's got two 50-foot flatbeds, okay, behind his rig. Now, this means the man is driving down the highway with 100 feet of of baggage behind him. Now, I'm telling you, I've never even drawn a small travel trailer behind me, and I'm certainly not about to start now. There are so many ways that we can do that. Derek's just going, a team of outcasts, elves, dwarves, and humans, searching for the gem of eternity. Where are we here? See, this is going to push my creative writing into a whole new realm, but it's a fantastic gateway, and one I absolutely look forward to tangling with. And again, the idea in my eyes is simple: to involve as many senses as possible, as well as, and I will tell you this: this is what it's called a spoiler. I will throw little research tools in there, or little quests that the individual reading the story has to go and do in order to make a decision. Yeah, that would be. This is where the question comes in. Okay, when I lay it out, and you're absolutely right there, Greg. Okay, you start off in a given location. Now you got all kinds of ways of getting out. If you go by plane, you're going to run into one setup. If you go by boat, you run into another set of options. If you go by car, you've got a third set. And here's the kicker: if you choose to go by plane, you will not get the option of coming back to get the car. This sort of thing. you know, but this will, if I didn't have enough on the go creatively speaking, this really helped a lot. And this is why I said you guys help a staggering amount. There's a lot of really neat options, and I'm looking at a couple of things in the way of tangible, replicatable gifts. Prizes down the road. That's exactly what we're referring to, Greg. Is literally, here's your choices. If you make this choice, go to this place. If you make this choice, go to that place. Okay. Yeah, and these are, absolutely, Derek. The ironic part is some of these ideas can be tied together. What do we got here? So I mean, all in all, there's a lot of change that's coming. So when I said, when I told you guys I was going to build an empire, I'm literally meaning I am going to take whatever I can, put it back out there so people have something to look forward to, something that they can say, this is what I'm working on. I had a goal. Here's how I went about it. Now I forget who it was, and pardon me for that. Somebody mentioned the other day. I get periodic reports from people. They'll buy one of the self-help books I've got that I've produced, and they'll turn around, buy the thing, follow what's there, and then write back to me and go, I don't believe it. It worked. Okay. This is the idea. This is my goal towards you guys. Um, I mean, I'm looking at things and going, if I can, what I'm aiming to do here is make absolutely certain that as I build my empire, what I'm giving to you people, to viewers and the people you know, is something to look forward to, something where you can say, this is what I'm doing. Now, you think about it, if I'm looking at, and it was just a thought that crossed my mind, but if I write a book that has, you do this and you get this, I've got to make certain that if I'm looking at tangible gifts coming from people sending me the answers, I have to make certain I'm not overstepping things. Okay. And that's something that'll be an interesting challenge. But the important factor here, and it's really imperative when we look at planning, okay, make certain that what you're planning is done with realistic, attainable goals. Okay. Now, one of my goals, I don't know if it's realistic. Okay. Given the scientific facts that I know of, it falls under the realistic category. Okay. The scientific facts that I've come across is that every cell in the human body is replaced every 7 years. With this in mind, everybody never gets older than 7 years, which means hitting the age of 137 should be theoretically doable. Okay, so I'm just going to focus on that side of it. The reality of it is, when you're looking at changing your life, just let's remember, it will change the life of everybody. It's got the potential to change the life of everybody you come in contact with. Okay, now you think about it in terms of what I'm doing. I take the books I'm writing, they start moving. I take the net profit and start turning it back to the general populace, back to, when I talk about charity, I mean paying for people directly. I do not, for things directly. I do not mean I will ever donate money to a registered charity. It won't happen. But that's a personal choice on my end. In all fairness, from my standpoint, I look at it going, I tried finding somebody my age, but unfortunately I'm 60. And I kid you not, the people I met around the world, because I tried the online dating thing. Okay. Now, am I understanding that there, Derek? When you say the Red Cross keeps 95%, are you saying that only 5 cents out of every dollar you send them actually goes to the aid? I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're reading there. What you're writing there, rather. I don't argue that at all. I know of another one, and I'm not going to use the name myself. There is another one that I know of that is a registered charity. It's been around for years. And purportedly, only 1% of the money they send out goes to the charity. Now, I will end up, and like I am going to be donating money to charity, but understand something about that. My idea is simple. I go to a restaurant. Okay. Now, people going to the restaurants many times. How you doing there, Raymond L? Glad you could come back and join us. You go to a restaurant, many times people have had to put money aside and withhold their own stuff to go out for dinner. These are what we call the working poor. So what I am currently doing, even though my money is really, really tight, okay, when I take a look at that, okay, I'll walk into a restaurant, and go, I just stopped by for a minute. Okay, taking a look around that table, around the restaurant. Can you tell me what are these people drinking alcohol? Because I will not pay for people's alcohol. It just doesn't happen. Okay. If I'm taking somebody out for dinner, then yeah, I'll pick up the tab for the alcohol. But I'll walk into a restaurant, look around and go, okay, that person, that table there, I'm paying for the food. And that's where 100% of the money that comes in, because eventually I'll start getting donations and people say, definitely go and do it. But the administration cost of doing that will be absorbed 100% by my company, by Intervoice Enterprises. 100% of the admin will be absorbed by that. The money itself will be going to the people. But it's not going to go, oh, you're on the street and you're having trouble, right? So, and you're asking for money. Here's $10. Ain't gonna happen. If somebody is in trouble, I will certainly buy food for people. Absolutely. And I've been known to do it. I'll be going through a grocery store. Somebody will get in line behind me, and they're struggling for money. And I'll just go, look, I'll tell the cashier, and I did this just the other day. Told the cashier, I said, look, don't argue with me. Don't ask her if it's okay. Right, indicating the woman right behind me. I said, put her groceries on my tab and don't argue about it. Right. Well, the girl overheard it and says, no, you can't do that. I can afford it. I said, hold it. I said, that ain't the way this works. Like I said, don't argue about it. This is what's happening. Right. Because she was clearly struggling with money. And a lot of people have trouble asking for help. Fortunately, in my case, I have trouble asking for help too, by the way. This is why I also seem to have trouble saying, go away, I'm not giving you a hand. Although that one I'm learning. So this is where things are changing from my end. Now, this is just an odd thought. Okay. Going back to that idea of writing these stories, these interactive stories. You get to the end of a story, you get to a certain part in it, and you write me the word, and what I'll do is go, okay, you send me by text, by phone, by text, by email, I don't care, right? Send me this information along with a physical mailing address, and I'll send you a copy of this other book I've written. It's one of those things that will be there in perpetuity anyway. Where are we here? That's absolutely fantastic. And this is one of those things that I absolutely agree with there, football. There are so many things I'm looking at, that is being done wrong. That we really have to, as a society, we've got to start turning things around. Now, here's a neat little piece. I'm just looking at this, and yes, we had dropped, and we had risen to 15 people, I think. Okay, in the first hour, we are already back up to 12 again, which in my eyes is fantastic. I will have to adjust the keywords and what have you afterwards. But, and here's something I was just, there's a couple of ideas I've got. But, like I said, when we're talking about changing your life, plan it, you get it planned up here. Get it in physical form. Okay? As in, sheet of paper, I'm old school. Sheet of paper, whether you're using sheet of paper, a text, a electronic note, your computer, doesn't matter. Give it some sort of physical form, but be sure to break things down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks. Okay, now I am absolutely certain, as a matter of fact, it's kind of intriguing. The whole idea of writing the storyline that we're talking about, these interactive ones, I can actually write those in Excel to make it easier to find where I'm going. Which is the easiest way to do it. It's either that or I write it on paper. I haven't figured out which one I'll do yet. But I'll figure that out as I go along. But that's where we're looking at this point. Yeah, and that's exactly the point. I always go by the idea of if you're giving money away, make certain you're giving money away that you can afford to give away. Way too many people give money away and find themselves behind the 8 ball. Bingo, did that myself. Gave away way too much of my money, and right now I'm on the edge of everything again because of that stupidity. Now, I knew better and did it anyway. Of course, unfortunately, sometimes my heart gets in my way. But I still, even with that, I will continue to help people as best I can. But I've got all these things on the go now. At least I won't be bored. But like I got up at 2 o'clock this morning, was up until, as a matter of fact, come to think of it, where are we here? Got up at 2 this morning. Where is that? Yep. And then we go from whoops, that's not from there, that's from there. See, this morning, I woke up at 2 o'clock. I went to bed at 11, woke up at 2. Right, got up at 2 o'clock, was up until 1 o'clock, 1:30 this afternoon, and then grabbed an hour's nap. But that's how I found out, for me, drinking a 375 milliliter basic and just a normal can of pop. Okay, drank 1 can of pop and passed out for an hour. So this is stuff I will be getting involved, getting on the go with right away here. Plus, of course, I've got, what is it now? Believe in your, I think it's believe in your career that I'm working on, but I'm curious on that. If I go to that field and we go back to Phoenix, oh, that's what I'm working on right now. Okay, another book in the realm of believe in your. Again, this boils down to planning. I've already got the templates that are laid out for it, and I'm starting to write them to get these books out so you guys have access to them. Because the fact of the matter is, where I'm writing with the self-help, these are tools I personally have put to use. So I know they work. Okay, it's not just a question of, oh, I read if you mix these 2 ingredients together, you'll get this. And no, I'm not writing a book on explosives. Number 1, don't have the knowledge. Number 2, not a real good idea. Although, there is a bar in the Yldrbac Chronicles. When I was running the game that I built the bar in, the bar was called Ground Zero. And their call to fame, as it were, was that when they were telling people, come to the bar, it was come to Ground Zero, have a blast. And it was just plays on words like that. But there's a lot of opportunity where you can take your life from where it is right now and start adjusting what's going on. You take a look at it, you'll notice the books or the boxes that were sitting over here aren't there anymore. That's because they got put where they belonged, not because I just moved them out of the way. But it turned out the 2 of the boxes that were down here were literally full of recyclable material. So now, what did I do with it? Nope, put it up front, so that's okay. So now it's a question of this old saying, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Okay, so I'm going to, if you guys have any ideas or input that you feel would be beneficial or that you would enjoy, especially where it comes to the writings, I'm going to be going back, as a matter of fact, tonight. I've got a couple of things I've got to get posted. Not just the issue of the books are for sale, but here's some of what's going on. I've got to become way more active on social media than I have been. You know, that's just one of those things I've got to look at. You know, social media, that is the way to connect in today's world. And realistically, if you think about it, I don't leave my house much, so it may be just about the only way to interact. You know, but I'm looking at it now and going, there are so many things I can see off kilter that I have to take a look at. Well, I feel I have to take a look at and decide what I'm going to do with them. But there's got to be a way to help more people, you know, than what's been going on. Uh-oh. Derek's going, get to the chopper, everyone down. Yeah, and then pray somebody doesn't have a heat seeker for the chopper. You know, the reality of it is, and that's, you know, I'm just thinking there's a couple of ways I can do this with the interactive side. And I don't know how I'm going to, and there's a couple of possibilities, you know, where I can start really building on things as it goes. But the one thing I do know is I'm not happy with the way my life has gone. I'm really ticked. You may not know it by looking at me, but I am really ticked that the government turned around and went, you've got an idea. No, it won't work. I'm telling you that my building a publishing company that opens the doors for people like you that only have one poem or one short story that you just like to get into print. This is well worth my doing. Okay. Yes, I do have to get a lawyer involved to make sure that I've got the right paperwork, so that, and to make sure I can get things copyrighted properly. Okay. To turn it around. Absolutely I will. But it really boils down to this. Make certain that I can do it in such a way that you're protected. You still got the rights to do what you will with your company and with your stuff. But I've got the rights to work with it as well. Okay. Like the artist that I've got doing the artwork for Races of the Worlds. Okay. We've got an arrangement where he can take all of that artwork he's done, he can do what he will with it. The stuff I've got from him, I can publish in part or in whole, but I am not permitted to change it. And that's the way it should be. Okay, this is what I'm looking at for you guys, where it comes to the publishing side. When I've got the money to do it, and I can turn around and buy an apartment building, I will take a look at it. And let's just say, for instance, that let's assume, friend, I'm just spitballing here. Let's say you're looking at 50,000 in land taxes. Okay. And in order for that to get paid, okay, at 50,000 land taxes, if I've got 50 units available, that means I only have to make $1,000 a year to cover the land taxes. Well, at that rate, you're looking at rental that you're looking at $200-300 a month to cover utilities as well and still make a profit. Okay, I should be able to do it down in that ballpark without calling it low income. You know, I'm not looking for myself. I'm not looking for those tax breaks. Okay, I mean, are they beneficial? Is there anything wrong with them? They're beneficial. There's nothing wrong with them. But I'm going to be looking at it going, I get to choose, or somebody that I hire gets to choose who gets to rent the place. The other thing that I've got a direct complaint with, when you take a look at an apartment building, most of virtually every apartment building owner that I know of, when they've got somebody that is the acting manager, they still make the manager pay rent. To me, this is just categorically wrong. Okay. But maybe I live in an idealistic world. What do you think? So there's a lot of change that's going to be coming and going along now. Okay. The other thing that I'm quite willing to listen to your guys' input on is the coloring of the clothing that I'm wearing. Not the style. Okay. But the coloring. Because let's face it, I am not a fashion aficionado. I'm really not. But am I open to certain changes? Certainly. Okay. These aren't going anywhere. I'm not getting an operation. I'm not trusting somebody to shine a really bright light in my eye to make it hopefully work better. I'm not doing it. Okay. But do I have a problem with the other side of it? Not at all. Now where are we? We are down to that. And you can feel the throat starting to go. But then even with that break, where we had to restart part 2, I've got a lot of things I'm going to be working on. I will keep people posted a little bit more readily. That's not a bad idea. Now, I got one really twisted question for you, football, and I really don't have a problem with the idea. But let me ask you this, because I just don't know what a polo shirt is. Okay. As far as I understand it, this thing's called a golf shirt. But I have no idea what a polo shirt actually, like my dog shirt. Oh, wonder if that's still hanging up. Not that one. Ah. You're talking this shirt. When you're talking the dog shirt, I take it. That's what you're referring to there, football? The fact is, a polo shirt and a golf shirt may be the same thing. That's okay. I don't know men's clothing either. But what I do know is what asking questions of people in the clothing store are, what things are. So I have no problem going into a clothing store because I've got to upgrade my wardrobe anyway. I've got no problem going in and going, what is a polo shirt? Right? I have no problem with that at all. Okay. And then finding the other side of it is going to be fun. But I do like the idea. Yeah, either one can work. Now, of course, as we know, much as I've met Bigfoot, I am not what you would call a Bigfoot specialist. Okay. But, yeah, there's all sorts of things that we can go down that road with. But yeah, I've got to say, actually, maybe I should think before I speak. What do you think? Up until recently, I literally haven't bothered. Like, I stayed away from the different shirts with sayings and what have you. I think part of that was to simply avoid being noticed. I really couldn't deal with a lot of it. But there are a lot of things I can do if I get the right people involved. But yeah, I will look into that side of things, definitely. Because this type of shirt, as I've mentioned before, I won't bother with the long sleeve and the full button down shirts. They're just uncomfortable for me, so I just don't do it. But with this in mind, guys, And I do, again, I was about to apologize. I'm really not. Technology is not one of these things I've got a lot of control over, a lot of impact on. But I do thank you so much for sharing your time with me, and really appreciate the input and suggestions. Things are going to change, and quite honestly, give you guys a pat on the back. Okay, give yourselves a pat on the back. You have been literally instrumental in helping me stay focused. So thank you so much for that. I will be back again tomorrow. No, I won't be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's my gaming night. Okay, but on the 15th, we will be discussing 0 point energy, what it is, how you can work with it, and we will give you practical tools that hopefully we get feedback during the live stream of those from some of you that actually deal with it, that actually give the tools a shot. That said, where are we here? Yeah, yes, today was a split run. It really was. But that is because of that's because of technological issues. That said, I will be back again. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.